Hey everybody, and hope everyone's doing good as usual. Thank you for watching. Much appreciated, of course. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe or give the video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or you want me to do any questions or have any ideas or feedback or anything, continue to let me know in the comments. It's great. I totally love it. So I have a conversation I wanted to share, and I want to share more and more of these because um, being able to practice with psychic or spiritual abilities, I have a lot of fun doing it, and a lot of times too, um, I notice, which is interesting too, I'm more relaxed, and when I'm having a better time, um, I don't stress myself out, and then I tend to hear things more clearly, which kind of makes sense. But so I have a lot of conversations like every day, and I try to make note of them. And I had one a while back that I wanted to circle back to and revisit. So um, I was watching Pawn Stars. Now, this is one of the cool things too, is just like being able to, um, if you are practicing or haven't practiced or that sort of thing, I don't know. I find like this sort of opportunity. I'm grateful to be able to have the opportunity and ability to have these conversations. So, and this is a perfect example. I was watching Pawn Stars. It was a while back. It was after the old man died, and I talked to him too. Um, and he's a real friendly person, just like he is on television. So, but he was actually, oh no, he wasn't in this episode. Anyways, I love that show. So, but this show in particular was about some guy came in the. If you don't know about the show, the Pawn Star Show, it's in Vegas, and people go in there. They're known for bringing in like high value items, and they do appraisals and that sort of thing. Well, some guy came in and he had a gold ring and claimed that it was Lucky Luciano's ring. And if you don't know who that is, that's he's considered like the forerunner or like basically the father of organized crime in America. Like, period. He's the one who kind of organized all these um, gangs across the country into one organized syndicate. Um, Not just for mainly the Italians, but also working with like all the different ethnicities at the time too. But they were the powerhouse at the time, the Italian crime families during that era, and he brought them together and created the structure and the commission and the. They had such immense power for such a long time in American history, and a lot of that is gone, but they're still around, that's for sure. So, but you can read about it online. In fact, I'll show you some information here in just a second. But this guy came in and he claimed to have his ring, and didn't have any documentation. Not too surprising, documentation, especially in the criminal underworld, is probably not a big thing. Um, Especially back then when there's less technology and documents and stuff like that, no phones. But anyways, so he didn't really have the documents for proof about, well, was this actually his ring or not? So I thought, well, why don't I ask him? So, and just to put this out there, I put this in other videos too. I don't just talk to anybody. So I do ask for help with who I'm able to speak with. And the vast majority of people, I think I put it in another video. If I remember right, I want to say it was like over 90% of people that have come from Earth are available to talk. Actually, 100%, believe it or not, are available to talk to. But I don't want to be able to talk to anyone. Like if certain types of people or who have done certain things, I just, and I don't know everything, and I don't know everything everyone's done on Earth. So I ask for help. As far as I ask for help determining who I can speak with, and that's a whole interesting video in and of itself as well. But so a vast majority of people on Earth are considered okay to speak with for a variety of reasons, and he's actually one of them. So I was able to speak with him directly, and his wife, and I talked with him, and it was kind of a funny conversation. But I'll share that here in a minute. I'm going to pull up some information, um, and I will. You know what? That just makes me think too. I'm going to do a video on that too, because it comes up a lot in my conversations as far as who I can talk to at any given moment. So, but back to this story. I'll show you a little bit of backstory here, and just kind of go into the conversation that I had. Okay, so just to give a little bit of background, and you can check this out online. This is just like the basics, and I'm sorry if I miss anything or skim through it, but you can kind of read about who Lucky Luciano is. He's been in a bunch of movies. I mean, they portrayed him in a bunch of movies. Now, he was born Salvatore Luciano, but he came, I think, if I remember correctly, just, Americans and how we pronounce names, or just because of accents, or, for whatever reason, Luciano became Luciano. Kind of like, Rocky Marciano. He was a very famous boxer, and his last name was actually Marchegiano with a G. But, people had trouble pronouncing it in America, so it just became Marciano instead of Marchegiano. So, anyways, it's probably one of those things. You know what? He was known as Charles or Charlie, Lucky Luciano. I don't know where they got Charlie from, to be honest. I'll have to do a little bit more research on that. But Lucky he got, and it actually tells you right over here if you look at the video I have here. This is the Pawn Stars video I was telling you about. So he was actually beaten up and he had his throat cut. So and he survived, and that's how we got the nickname Lucky. So all right, and let me see. And like I was saying before too, so first head of the modern. So there's 5 major crime families of the Italian mafia from New York. If you're familiar with that sort of thing, I've always loved like this kind of history and like mob movies and stuff like that. So I'm pretty familiar with it. And so like the 5 families in New York, his crime family was the precursor for the Genovese crime family, which is still around today. And the commission, a lot of people maybe have heard of that, but that's just like the ruling panel of representatives from all the crime families, Italian ones, across like the whole United States. And again, they used to just wield enormous power here, mostly in America, but throughout the world too. And quick side note, like one of the most famous, interesting things I actually like about his story is, so he was put into prison, for doing like criminal and like gangster stuff. So, but during that time, so World War II began, and of course the United States was fighting the combination of Germany, Japan, and Italy. So he had so much power here in the United States over the docks and the unions and that sort of thing, that the United States government actually went to him for help while he was in prison. And he helped protect the United States from Germany mainly, if I remember, but also Italians too as well, and any threat really along the New York waterfront, because it was such a major port of entry. And he helped provide intel and basically secure and protect that part of the United States during World War II. So, and then as a condition of his help, they released him from prison, believe it or not, but he was not allowed to return to the United States. He was exiled, and he died in Italy. So it's kind of a fascinating look at American history that not a lot of people are aware of, and he played a direct role in that. So now this video that came up, this is really fascinating. So this guy came in with this ring. It's made out of gold, and there's rubies, and there's for the eyes, and there's a diamond right here. And he said it was Lucky's signet ring, which means like signature ring. By the way, it is his ring. So I had this conversation with him and asked was it your ring? First of all, I asked to talk to him, and he was there immediately. Anybody who's available to talk to is there immediately, so it was great. And we've talked before, actually, so it wasn't the first time we met. But I asked him, hey, this ring, is it your ring? And he said, yes, that was my ring, and I can confirm that for you. So that is 100%. So when you leave objects behind and that sort of thing, there's a way to track them, even though they can't hear on the show and everything. These things are kept track of in the afterlife. So if this was his, he can speak to that with absolute authority. So he confirmed that, and his exact words were, "I had it made to fit on my finger." So, confirming that it was his ring. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So this guy was telling the truth. And now he said, let me play a little bit of the story for you right here.
Dons that ever existed. It's a one-of-a-kind piece that has a lot of power and a lot of authority. They're going to want it not for its jewelry value, but history.
So how did your mom get the ring?
There's an individual whose name I cannot use that gave this to my mother.
Whose name I cannot use. So, it was his mother's ring. You know what? We'll let him tell the story real quick. Sorry.
My mother was a woman who did special services for these people because she had their personal confidence. These gentlemen trusted her with things that they couldn't trust anyone else. And she was given it to protect it and to protect them from fighting amongst themselves.
Okay. It'd be pretty interesting if it was his ring. I know he was involved in the killing of Bugsy Siegel. He was associated with Arnold Rothstein, the guy who fixed the 1919 World Series.
He's pretty much credited for making the mob what it is. He took more of a business aspect to it, where he was more like a crime CEO instead of just, a thug. This guy started his first gang in New York when he was like a teenager. But basically, he grew to be the head of the entire Italian mob in the U.S.
If you look at the picture, that's the face of a devil. The rubies are set as the eyes, but there's even the tear. I mean, Luciano was a mobster. He killed people. I've been told by people, there's blood on that piece. Don't bring it here. I don't want to see it.
Okay. You got any paperwork on this?
You won't find any paperwork on it. I've gone to as many archives as I can come up with. I've checked with friends in the FBI. I had a person describe it to me over the phone, having never met me. And he said, oh, you mean that piece with the diamond for the heart and the rubies for the eyes? Guy had never met me before. And I said, you saw it? He goes, yeah, when I was a kid.
Since so many...
So, look at the look on his face, too. It's funny. His son doesn't look very impressed. Look, that's kind of funny. But so anyways, let me go back to a picture of the ring. So here's his mother. It's so funny because I love the way her son, he's like, someone gave it to her and I can't say his name. She provided special services to these guys because, they're in the mafia and you can't really talk about what they do. But so what she was to them, the high-ranking guys for Lucky Luciano and his inner circle, for example, him in particular, was a trusted confidant and, courier and that sort of thing. Someone he could trust with messages and to carry things and to hold things for him, So that is kind of how she came to be known by them and trusted by them for certain things. And he had said he had someone give her the ring before he went to prison. So give it to her as a thank you, his exact words, because he was appreciative for her services. So he gave her that ring as a thank you gift through somebody, not directly, for all the help that she had provided over the years. So, that was pretty interesting. And that conversation, it was kind of cool to be able to have that and hear that and to speak with him and his wife. So I had this conversation. This is, I almost forgot about this part. So I was asking him, he was actually known to have never been married down here. But there is speculation. Hang on. Okay, that's right. So um, I was just asking actually just now, believe it or not. So for confirmation of that, because okay, so on here he was known. He didn't want family because of who he was and having to raise a family, but also to be in such a violent and um, position of having a bad reputation for being a criminal. So, but this was like the first one of the first loves of his life that was with him for years until he went to prison. And this was his second long-term relationship, and he had a lot in between. I'll get to that in a minute, actually. And so I had asked him, there's speculation, had you ever been married? And some people, he'll tell a little bit in this Wikipedia story, but there's also, I imagine, some more information floating around online that they exchanged rings, but were never married. He actually did get married, he said, to her. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Ijea, maybe? I hope I'm saying that right. But this was his long-term partner until he passed. And they did, he said, we did more. He said, than exchange rings. We made it official. He actually did marry her. So that I can confirm. And but that was down here. He's actually asked him, are you still married in the afterlife? And he was actually married to this woman, Gaya Orlova, his first love of his life. That's who he's married to in the afterlife. So she left him, I believe, when he went to prison, and then he got exported, exiled, deported, I think is the right term, and then ended up seeing her and getting married down here. But then when they reunited in the afterlife, he actually ended up marrying her. So I was reading this story here too, and let me see. It talks about his personal life a little bit right here. Here it talks about his World War II, and, deportation and everything like that. So I was actually right here. I'll get to this part a little bit because I was asking him about his personal life, and then that's when we got into marriage and everything. And first, it's not known for sure if he had any kids. So I asked him, and I said, well, did you have any kids? And he said, I did. He said, I actually had multiple kids by, what was his exact words? It was multiple kids by multiple women. So, and he wasn't sure at the time if he had or if they were his kids. So he couldn't confirm, or he wasn't aware of it 100% at the time. And it does talk about, he was quite, what's the word? He dated a lot of women, so he made, some of these kids may not have even been aware, or even the women. I don't know. Our conversation didn't go that far, but I just asked him, and he said, yes, more than one, I forget what his exact words are, to be honest, but more than one child with more than one woman that he wasn't fully aware of. So, and then I was looking at that, and that's when we started talking about his marriage and everything. And then, so it's not funny, but it made me laugh, and a little bit, and smile. What I was reading this, and I said, you actually had an argument, with your wife, and it said that you had physically struck her. So I actually talked to her too. I asked her directly, said, oh my God, like, I'm sorry that he struck you, but did he let you hit him back in the afterlife, like turn the other cheek kind of thing, like, he should let you hit him back. So, and she did. I couldn't help but laugh a little bit because she said, you bet I did. She said, right in the face. So she said, he let me hit him back for that. So, and that was her response to it. So, And again, that was EJ, I think that's her name. And they did have unfortunate, physical altercations, but he felt bad for it and that sort of thing. And actually, she hit him back. So she got him back in the afterlife, just to let you know. And now his other wife, so Gay. So I talked to her too, and then I also heard you're still married, or you're married over there, and she did confirm that, So, and I said, well, that's great, and I said, well, congratulations, that sort of thing. And I told her, I actually said, your name, Gay, means happy. And I said, so you're happy and lucky. I said, I'm going to call you Happy and Lucky, if you don't mind. And she said that's just fine. So she actually loved the nickname. So I call Lucky and his wife Happy and Lucky. So, and that kind of ended our conversation at the time. But I just wanted to share that. And that's the information on the ring. And that's a little bit more on Lucky Luciano. So there you have it for now. All right, so there's the information on that, and about the ring, and a little bit more about the story behind it and the man who owned it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I thought it was a real interesting video, and I want to put like a lot more of these conversations online because I have them a lot, and I write a lot of them down just to make sure that I remember and that I'm hearing things accurately. So. And it comes up a lot just when I'm watching TV or reading online and that sort of thing. And I just like, oh, hey, this is great. Like I can ask that sort of thing. I can ask, oh my God, who killed JFK? Or what happened to Amelia Earhart? Or like, what happened to this? Or, like how's Dr. Martin Luther King doing? And I can just like say hi or like ask him questions. And I have like a million questions sometimes. And everybody's very patient and gracious with their time. So, and I'm definitely grateful for that. And in fact, I did a video on the JFK thing, but it was a little bit disorganized, and I wanted to redo it, but I want to revisit it. So that's for sure. Anyways, thank you very much for watching again. And like I said before, of course, thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe if you haven't already. But if you have any questions or ideas or anything like that, or any questions you want to ask, let me know, and I'd be happy to do that, and I'll write them down, and we'll definitely get to them. So, thanks again, and thank you for watching, and please take care.